Pastor Roy Gearhart from Galloway United Methodist Church in Franklin, Pennsylvania, sharing a few words of encouragement to help us follow after Jesus. Well, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I was out in the woods yesterday afternoon, and it was beautiful. Just like this tree behind me, the entire woods were just covered in snow, just wrapped up in it in such a beautiful way that I don't think I've ever seen a scene any more beautiful. And it prompts me today to raise a question. How much planning do you put into your day? I mean, how much forethought do you put into what you're going to do? And I know the answer to that question is going to involve, different things like, what's going on in that day? How important are those activities? And even your personality and how much of a planner you really are. Whenever you think about guys going hunting, I know some guys that their entire plan for hunting is that I'm going to go over to that set of woods and I'm going to wander around in it for a while and see if I see anything. And if I find a nice place to sit down, I might plop down and watch for a while, see if anything comes out. That's the full extent of their plan. But for other guys, there is no way that that's going to cut it. They've got their game cameras up for months and months. They've been watching deer, taking pictures of them. They have picked out the buck that they are going after. In fact, they know the trails that he follows. They've got a tree stand or a blind set up in just the right spot, and they can tell you right down to the hour of day that they expect to shoot that deer. That's the way they plan it all out. And I'm thinking about that because, some of the scriptures that we've been looking at in the last several weeks, talking about God's promises, have really had me thinking about God's planning and his forethought for the creation and for our lives. It's really kind of mind-boggling to think of God planning ahead, even in broad strokes, to say, I promise you that I'm going to bless you in your life, and I'm going to see your descendants blessed, and someday I am going to bring a Savior into this world. I mean, just in broad strokes like that, to plan and to have something that you can say, this is going to happen, that in itself is quite a task and quite an accomplishment. But the Lord makes promises that are so much more detailed than that. And it's so much greater depth. I mean, when God made the promise to Abraham, he amplified on that through the prophets as the years went by and gave more and more detail to the coming of Jesus, to our Messiah, and telling us, where he would be born and where various events would happen and how he would die for us. It's amazing to think about that. But then when you take that and bring it down to the details of our lives, David marveled that God had this all planned for our own life, even before we came into this world. And in Psalm 139, we've said, the Lord has written down all of the days of your life. I mean, to consider God planning with that kind of depth and detail, without just being a puppet master and pulling the strings, but actually engaging with us in life. I mean, that's mind-boggling. My dad was a contractor, and he did a lot of remodeling jobs, and remodeling is really hard to plan because you don't always know what's behind a wall that you're going to tear out. And my dad would spend hours and hours planning a job. He would every day be thinking about what we were going to do and how we were going to approach it. And there were all kinds of things that he would be trying to anticipate that were unforeseen. And yet he couldn't see all of those things to plan it all out. But this is what we're saying. God knows all of the details. He knows all of our lives. He knows all of these interactions. He's looking ahead and envisioning all of this with all of the forethought that the Apostle Paul said in Ephesians 1. We noted this yesterday, that God had the plan for Jesus to come into this world even before he started creating. He had plans for our life even before we came into existence. God has foreseen all of this with so much depth of understanding and knowledge. I mean, it's amazing. It's stunning. It's way above our pay grade. to be able to completely understand all of this. And there's a point at which we just have to step back and go, wow, God has a plan for all of this world, and God has a plan for my life. He loves me, cares about me that much. I mean, he's not an architect that is planning out a system and a building that he forgets that people are going to live in. No, he has planned for your life and mine. I mean, how great is our God? Well, may God bless you today. And as you share this good news, may God make you a blessing wherever he takes you.